Well, good afternoon, members of council, members of our management team, our distinguished guests in the audience of our council chambers. There'll be a new profile, hopefully, after the next few weeks on the back wall that will actually add a little bit of vibrancy to the culture, our Acadian, our American, and our Indigenous culture. So that's on the agenda today, and hopefully that'll go well. So it is. Oh, wait, I would ask a member of council that we call the meeting to order.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, we'll start off with our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the town of Stephenville as the ancestral homeland of different populations of Indigenous people. We also acknowledge with respect the rich histories and cultures of the Beothuk, the Mi'kmaq, the Innu, and Inuit of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. I would ask a member of council that we approve the agenda as circulated by staff.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilor O'Brien, second by Councilor Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Item number 3. Be it resolved to approve our public meeting of council minutes dated March 14, 2 weeks ago, as circulated by our staff. I would ask a member of council that we move to adopt those minutes. Moved by Councilor David Cummings.
Question.
We'll just wait for a seconder.
Second.
Can I get a seconder?
Second.
Second, Councilor O'Brien. Okay, question.
Sorry. Last meeting, I requested that on the planning, they will identify when they approve or disapprove a permit, that the regulation or policy be recorded in the description. I don't see that request in their minutes.
Yeah, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, CAO, Mr. Ramsey, that they are working on that. The staff is fairly new in the engineering and planning office, but
I was saying it was not recorded in the minutes.
yeah.
Adopt the
wasn't
minutes.
recorded.
Wasn't recorded.
Oh. Okay, could we make a note of that for a minute taking? Okay, duly noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, any matters arising from the minutes? We just had one. Anything else? Nothing arising from the minutes. I'd also like to welcome our 50 attendees, a nice round figure for today. It is a rainy day here in Stephenville, Newfoundland, for those of you that are online. But it's not snowing, and I'd say after the weekend, there's not going to be a whole lot of snow left around here. So nice to see the spring is coming. The tulips are not up yet, but we're getting close. No proclamations and delegations today. Okay, so committee reports. We have a lengthy agenda here today, so we'll take our time with it. So I'm going to turn it over to our Chair of Finance 6.1, Councilor Myra White, for our Finance Committee report.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to everyone. Finance Committee met on March 25th, 2024, and the following items were recommended for council approval. Item number 1 is property tax. Be it resolved to write off property tax in the amount of $12,566.44 as recommended by the tax collector. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Laura Aylward. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
It should be pointed out that I think, Mayor, that the amount comes forward us. I mean, the actual accounts that are being written off or who the tax are being written off for doesn't come forward to us. The tax collector prepares it, and then it's reviewed by the clerk or management for the accuracy in that before it comes forward to us. So there are some checks and balances into it before it gets to us.
Yes, right.
There's an audit check normally by the clerk for the write-off. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Item number 2, water and sewer tax. Be it resolved that water and sewer tax adjustments of $384 be approved as recommended by taxpayers. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 3, remission of tax. Be it resolved that the remission of tax in the amount of $815.12 be approved as recommended by the taxpayer. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Tax collector.
Second by Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, but you said taxpayer, right? It's tax.
Oh, tax collector.
Okay,
So
just,
no big deal.
correction there.
Just a strip of on this off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a mover, we have a seconder, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 4, business tax. Be it resolved that business tax adjustments of $3,223.53 be approved as recommended by the taxpayer collector. I want him to pay all the bills. Sorry, do you want me to reread it?
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Number 5, miscellaneous amounts. Be it resolved that miscellaneous accounts write-off of $1,500 be approved as recommended by the tax collector. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Dale Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 6, Port Harmon Authority Limited and 69385 Newfoundland and Labrador in taxes. Motion 24-29. I refer to 24-29. The motion agrees to write off the balance of the property, business, and water and sewer taxes to December 31st, 2023, and related interest should be $350,000 to be paid by March 31st, 2024. The $350,000 payment has been made in full. It is recommended that council write off $413,197.91 as follows. Port Harmon Authority Limited, A-R number 110538, $303,462.21, and 69385 NL Inc., AR number 110524, $109,735.70, clearing taxes and interest to December 31st, 2023. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Orr. Question?
That was agreement put in place in 2023. So we're just ratifying, fulfilling that motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Just like clarification on that, that's all.
basically,
Obligation.
yeah, this is the legal entity but we kind of know the port now is the Port of Stephenville. They rebranded the name, but I guess this was the legal entity on the books, Port Harmon Authority. And the write-off, a fair amount of that write-off was interest on the taxes that was owing by the previous owner. So this was a tax deal. So just for clarity on that.
Okay, yeah, just coming, I'm glad that was explained, because if not, just looking at it, then the explanation of things was very important, so.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
Yes,
This motion is basically giving the tax collector the authority now to write it off, to finish the deal that was struck back
Okay.
in 2023.
Just a clean housekeeping item.
Right.
For our books, for our auditors, and remember, from a openness and transparency, like most municipalities, we have audits, external audits, but also there are internal audits by municipal affairs from time to time also. So there's a lot of scrutiny on our books, and having a CPA on board now, council, that's a little bonus for us too.
Correction, you can't use that title for me anymore because I gave up that license.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, so I'll just call you
I
Mr.
don't want anyone getting in trouble.
So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Item number 7, a policy for nonprofit organizations. Be it resolved that the TOS will formalize our policy on nonprofit organizations.
TOS, Town of Stephenville.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Town of Stephenville, yeah.
Okay, be it resolved the town of Stephenville formulate our policy on nonprofit organizations for written policy based on past practice to be reviewed and revised and approved by council. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Darren Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
A public question on that, Mr. Mayor. When that policy is being developed, will it be just developed in council, or will some of the nonprofit groups take part in that? Because each nonprofit group is a little bit different. And just as an idea, it may be with the policies being developed, a little bit of talking correspondence with some of the nonprofit groups.
And not a bad idea to, bring all of our community groups together once we have a draft
Yes,
policy.
yes.
Bring them in, because in the past with this council and previous councils, we have been very supportive of all of our
Yes.
community groups. I think we put in close to $250,000 to $300,000 a year with community group grants and sponsorships. And we write off taxes for give groups. And if we had to pay for all the volunteer hours that the communities give,
Yes.
we wouldn't be able to. do so.
This motion is, I'm missing something. It's very vague to me. Are we developing a policy for nonprofit organizations, or how we provide funding to them, or how we work with them, or what?
I think the policy broad is when it comes to the taxes, I think that would be one of the things, because we do have a written policy now that we communicate out to the community groups twice a year. And that's something that we felt was important from an openness and transparency perspective, because prior to that, we would just get letters come into the town
right.
from community groups. And then the challenge with that was some community groups probably didn't know.
Yeah.
So now that we advertise it and we put it on our website, that allows every community group an opportunity. So I think it's a bit of both, Deputy Mayor Fellow.
Yeah, so to me, if it be it resolved that the policy on either grant provision or funding or something for nonprofit organizations would make it a little more clear to me. We're saying we'll formalize our policy on nonprofit organizations. So that suggests we're rewrite the policy about nonprofits, right?
Yeah,
As
so
opposed
we
to
should-
how we deal with nonprofits.
Yeah.
So just to me, would be, we might need to make that a little more clear, that's all.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll have that noted. So all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 8, accounts payable tax agreement request. Be it resolved to pay accounts payable for the month of March 2024 in the amount of $305,974.
Oh, you missed a page.
No, there's the way it's written, the title is mixed up with accounts payable.
Rural energy, we should mark it 8A, and then the accounts payable, mark it 8B.
Okay, so you're missing you're missing a heading.
You're missing a heading there for the accounts payable.
Okay.
So call it rural energy 8A, and then be resolved the accounts payable 8B, just for clarity, I guess.
Okay.
It just runs together
Yeah.
there. There's a heading missing.
Okay, 8A is World Energy Tax Agreement Request. Be it resolved to continue to liaison with World Energy GH2, working towards a final agreement on matters related to tax obligations for the Port Harmon Authority Limited. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second,
Second, Councilor Tom O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
This will be number 9. It's the accounts.
No, 8B.
Number 8B.
Oh, 8B, I'm sorry. There. Accounts payable for the month of March. Be it resolved to pay accounts payable for the month of March 2024 in the amount of $305,974.93, less the cost of the Yukon SUV in the amount of $100,456.55 for a total of $205,518.38 acquired for the fire department, pending the finance request to municipal and provincial affairs. Be it resolved to proceed with a
That should be separate.
Yeah.
So now we got 8A, 8B, and 8C.
All thanks for that. That's just the.
I so move.
Second.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back and read the accounts payable again.
okay, and some explanation because you're just seeing the numbers and not.
The 100,000.
Okay, okay.
Is it the Yukon SUV that's acquired for the fire department or the 205,000?
No, the Yukon SUV is
Okay,
100,000.
so that's just the.
Okay.
For a total of,
Misplaced. That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, the original accounts payable that came to us was 305,974.93,
Right.
but that included the vehicle for the fire department, 100,456.55,
Yep.
which we're now taking off the accounts payable, which reduces the actual accounts payable that we're approving to 205,518.38. Okay.
Which I understand
Yep.
completely because I know that, but the way it reads
Yep.
Yeah, it's
is a
poorly
little
worded.
bit, the acquired for the fire department needs to move to the Yukon SUV acquired for the fire department or something, you know?
And I just for clarity too, on, some of the wording.
Sorry.
Our town clerk's office, that takes care of the,
Yeah, we're all-
motions.
No,
And our existing staff have jumped in to help out, so we want to thank them for, doing that and it's appreciated.
so in this case, we discovered that we were about to pay outright for the Yukon, and we wanted to include that in our request for municipal borrowing. And again, that requires the motion of council before we can even
Yeah.
complete the transaction and get it ready for then council to approve the borrowing. Once the Department of Municipal Affairs has said, okay, you can borrow this at this rate for that period, right?
Yeah.
And if they're new items, you're allowed to amortize them over a longer period as well. So it could be 5 years, it could be 7 years, depending on what they allow.
And just for clarity too, from the CAO, it's nice to, just speak on the item that's being discussed, is that it's another measure of auditing that happens. Like if we decide we want to borrow $100 or $100,000 or $1 million, we have to go through municipal affairs. They have to check our budget. They have to check our debt load ratios. And we are monitored just like any other municipality in the province of Newfoundland. And by the way, there's 256 of them, just for the record. So I'll turn it back to you, Chair of Finance.
thank you, everybody. Okay, we're gonna go back to 8C.
We didn't vote
Vote
on,
on B.
No, you never vote on 8B.
Oh,
Never,
are the accounts payable moved to second?
no, not yet.
Okay, so the accounts payable was, you want to read the?
I was gonna read it over again.
Yes.
Because okay. Be it resolved to pay accounts payable for the month of March 2024 in the amount of $305,974.93, less the cost of the Yukon SUV in the amount of $100,456.55, which relieves the remaining accounts payable payment for $205,518.38.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, moved by
I
Council
so
Member
move.
White, seconder.
Seconded.
Second, Council Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Question?
But again, such a large number, as a member of finance, I think we should just put out what some of that 205 is, through it all. Like, there's over $3,500 here for engineering for Russell Heights, which is a municipal capital works project that's coming up this year. There's $3,984 for professional services there. It's $7,578 for town uniforms for a fire department. I'm just going through the bigger ones. Coastal glass, $7,041. that's to do with the signage and that, and certainly the wraparound on the TVs,
Wigwams.
wigwams. Okay, for indigenous cultural place. It's containerized sanitation, which is our curbside collection and pickup, and that is $24,000. So that's a sizable one in itself, but I mean, the garbage has to be picked up, and that's the contract we have. There was $19,688 spent on the new boilers net at our YMCA building, which is always good news. The YMCA is certainly success in town. Again, with the potholes and asphalt repair, there's another $23,000 there. And that's not about the end anytime soon. Our gas and fuel alone for March month was over $29,000, $29,431. So you mean that once you start taking off some of those large numbers, the $205,000 number starts to go down pretty good. I mean, there's $9,492 there for parts for our equipment and that. And then there's $10,333.04. Got to include 4 cents for the Western Regional Waste Management service. I mean, that was a $20,805.04 bill, but there was a credit put through of $10,472 as an unassigned payment, which I believe to be basically a refund from the Western Regional Waste Management, which they gave a lot of communities refund for. So it's that's larger items. So kind of just quote the big numbers. People kind of get an understanding of how our operations work.
Okay,
Thank you very much. So, question?
Question, maybe you can clarify it for me. It's my understanding, the Yukon, the fire truck, be in agreement with a company to help pay for that vehicle?
Yeah, we have a MOU and actually a legal agreement in place financially with Emera. So Emera is the Nova Scotia company that was part of Muskrat Falls.
Bottom Brook.
Because, yeah, Bottom Brook, the substation, there are some confined spaces there that we entered into an agreement with Emera that they help pay the cost of our fire department and upscaling our equipment and vehicles so that we can respond for, and it's a distance from our town, but that vehicle is actually dedicated for confined space, whether it's in one of our tunnels at our water plants. But it was really, it got helped us financially from Emera, which is a thing.
Good thing.
And-
But we did receive any money towards the capital purchase of the vehicle?
I think that was part of it. We get so much per
I
year.
don't have any information on that.
Yeah.
My understanding, Mayor, is the original amount that came from Emera had a portion in there for the vehicle.
Yeah, so maybe at the next finance meeting, the finance committee can have a copy of the agreement.
You know, but my concern issue within is they paid us some money towards the capital cost of the vehicle. Why are we looking at to refinancing the full cost of the vehicle?
It's just a.
It's just a cash flow initiative that we're undertaking with, when we looked at a number of the purchases, which were,
We were gonna indicate
street
now, I think.
sweeping and other vehicles.
No, because we're looking at approval of,
But just the whole idea of investigating and determining exactly what the rates would be. And again, it'll be brought back to the decision of council as to actually go through with financing if, once we made that offer and we get the offer from municipal payers as to whether we can do it or not.
so I
At
would,
this point, we don't have any of that.
okay. So at that point, I would request that a cash flow projections be submitted at the same time.
Exactly.
Thank you.
No, that was part there, yeah.
Just the other thing, Emera's been a good corporate citizen. As you well know, we lost Pier Park, the baseball diamond in Stephenville, that green space. But part of their legacy project, they put $100,000 in our new baseball diamond, that's why I don't. So they've been a good corporate citizen and we need that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you got 8C now, Mara.
8C, be it resolved to proceed with a municipal financing request approval to borrow through a motion of council. I so move.
Moved by Council Myra White, seconder.
Okay,
In the amount of,
yeah, what?
in the amount of 100,456.55.
Okay.
Related to the Yukon. So we'll
Yeah.
proceed with the request. Then if the, they'll make a proposal back to us on the bank. And then we can consider at that time if there's alternatives or we should proceed. The same.
So do you want to reread it with that?
I will.
Financial?
Be it resolved to proceed with the municipal financing request, approval to borrow through a motion of council for $100,456,000,
$56.
$100,456.55. I so move.
Moved by Council Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Council Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Council Ryan? Carried.
Just a question, Mr. Mayor. So we'll, at that point in time, we'll have an idea of how much Emera has contributed to it. Okay.
Okay.
Item number 9, award of the tender vacuum sweeper truck. Be it resolved to proceed with a municipal financing request, approval to borrow through a motion of council in the amount of $455,700 plus the HST. Borrowing is to be in 2 parts. Principal amount over a 5-year term with HST borrowed separately over a 12-month term. And to explore longer term financing options based on the purchase of new equipment. The purchase of the truck is to be made from Saunders Equipment in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I so move.
Moved by Council Myra White,
Second,
second. I just want to say this is a vacuum sweeper truck. There's cheaper ways to do it, like if you just had a sweeper truck. But let me tell you one thing. Creates a lot of dust and a lot of dirt flying around the town. And we have the best wind corridor in North America. So having a vacuum sweeper truck, when they go out, and even our public works will actually time it. You'll be out late at night and they'll be early in the morning when there's no wind, because they do create a little bit of dust at times. So on that note, all in favor?
Question. The HST borrowed, is that the full HST or our rebate portion of the HST?
No, it's the full amount, and my understanding, they don't do it as a discounted amount, but they require, municipal borrowing agency requires you to have the HST paid off in 1 year.
Okay,
Not the net amount, but the full amount.
thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Council Ryan? Carried.
Item number 10, funding approval, renovations to the YMCA. Be it resolved to approve commencement of project implementation on a grant approved on behalf of the town to complete upgrades to enhance the YMCA for sustainability. Multi-level government approval requires council to provide its commitment, which will be requested from municipal affairs under the approval to borrow. Be it resolved to proceed with a municipal finance request, approval to borrow through a motion of council for the amount of $575,549, which is 20% of the total estimated project cost. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. All in favor?
Mayor, the number's not here, but I mean, people could do the math, I guess, and figure it out for themselves to make it a little bit easier for people that may be watching. Where the 575,549 is 20% of the project. We're looking at a $2.8 million upgrade to the YMCA building.
Say that again, 2.8 million?
Million
Upgrade.
upgrade.
Since,
And our 20% will be the 575,000.
Yeah.
So you mean it's
Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, the YMCA is one of the success stories in town, and the building certainly needs the work done, right?
and it's not just upgrades, but it's, I believe there's an extension associated.
Yeah,
with it.
there's a small extension,
We're
yeah.
gonna have a bigger footprint, which is really good
Wow.
also.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of the questions. There will be a plan, I guess, about that. They know what's gonna happen to it.
Full engineering.
Okay.
MCW.
I think the expansion is 800 square meters or something. Okay, so,
Not sure.
Yeah,
Quite
okay.
ready to go to.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 11 is a request for advertising. Explore Travel Guide, Down Home Marketing. Be it resolved to purchase an ad in the Down Homer for 2024 tourism season for the amount of $1,250 plus the HST. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Lori Willard, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilor Meyer? Carried.
Item number 12, permission to purchase Marcus Goss, the original works of art. Be it resolved to approve the purchase of to approve the purchase of a conceptual design of works of art to be incorporated into one of the pillars of the marketing concept for the town of Stephenville. This transaction is a sole source purchase per section 7.2 of the Newfoundland and Labrador Public Procurement Policy. The total cost in the amount of $656,518.25. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Dan Roberts, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, anything late for finance?
Well, there's, it's later on in the agenda, and it's, for the fire department. These were items that were they were about to be purchased, and I wanted them brought to council just for council's understanding and approval. It's a rescue boat for the Stephenville Fire Department. It's more like a raft, that rescue craft. They have a quote from T&D Pratt for this item, which was identified by the fire department as an item that would be required. The total price of that is $4,479.25, and they were ready to purchase it and had it ordered, and I stopped it until the council could review that. In addition to that, and we have the documents, there's a copy of the, you see the brochure up there, that's the rescue craft. There are suits required for those who would go on a rescue, or you put that on ice water, in your ice rescue. And those suits, the 4 suits are even more than the craft itself. They're $5,876. Those 2 amounts include HST, so total $10,355.25, including HST, and they would proceed with the purchase with council's approval. And there is budgeted amount for it.
So I presume this would go to our next finance meeting for recommendation before it would come to a public meeting for approval?
Well, it wasn't brought, but it was planned to, and it just got pushed to one side at the time.
It came through financing at once, and we were questioning whether it was in the budget or not. So the manager put it on hold until he checked it out, and it is in the budget, so we should be able to approve it now.
If you're willing to, if you want to hold it for this.
Can I ask a question? Is that a standard piece of equipment for firefighters? Is there an expansion of the scope? I know that because I know firefighters respond to a lot more motor vehicle accidents now than ever before. So is this part of an expansion of services, or is this because this was a search and rescue?
It has to do if there was a search and rescue have their own vessels that they use for this. I'm not sure what type of their rescue craft are. I did speak with search and rescue about it. Theirs are not the same, not compatible. Like they would do their work if requested through the RCMP too. So if our fire department responded to an incident where this was needed, if it was iced over water or whatever, and they had to get out on the ice to do this rescue, then this craft and the suits would have to be worn in order to take it on. So it's a times of the essence type thing they're explaining to me.
Okay,
For
so
this,
how many of those instances have we had?
I don't have any information on that.
You buy this kind of equipment, hoping you don't have any incidents. Really.
Yeah, I agree. It just seems to me that if it's a very rare circumstance and we have search and rescue department here, it's not like you'd suddenly discover in the middle of fighting the fire that you were standing on ice, like you would know the call would come in. Is there not a way that we could enhance the rescue services of search and rescue by looking at providing that equipment versus purchasing it for a fire department who may or may not ever use it?
Well, this is the reason why I figured it should be brought here to the table for this discussion.
No, I agree with the deputy mayor. I'm very familiar with Jerry Clark and his group, and they have similar type equipment, okay? And similar type suits, and of course, there's a whole training program that goes with it as well. That's the other part. I would like to wait with this and maybe a bit more talking to Jerry Clark and his group. And I know that there is a different response time, because if there's a danger on the ice and the RCMP are notified, then the RCMP have to go and contact the search and rescue. Okay,
Yeah.
and I understand that, but I think we just want to make sure we're not duplicating a service that's already there. Okay, and I understand what you're saying.
That's kind of my thought, not that not that I don't want to see us equipment for any and every circumstance, but it seems to me that if there was an issue on the ice or in water, the first thought for someone wouldn't be to call the RCMP. It would, the fire department, it would be more RCMP or search and rescue, I would think.
It'll be a 911 call.
Yeah, so, I'm not sure the exact dollar amount, but it would be a fairly substantial. That's a fairly substantial circumstance that, if we were able to provide half of that to search and rescue, they'd be able to enhance the services that.
And, yeah,
It'd be something to discuss.
just to add to that, I know that on occasion, more than occasion, if someone is really desperate, they will call ground search and rescue first, and they'll sort it out after. So I think that's probably a discussion we need to have. Not that I think it is worthwhile,
Or just information.
but just information, yes.
It is not a motion
No,
on
it's not
the
a motion.
agenda.
No,
It's for discussion.
Yes, yeah,
Discussion.
yeah.
So let's go back and have further discussion on it and take it from there.
Yeah, no, thanks.
We should have some discussion with our fire chief on it too, because I mean,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
the fire chief's view on this.
Yeah,
The fire department sometimes are the first on the scene, so minutes count type thing when you're in this kind of situation. So you mean, and sometimes the information that comes forward to the first responders, whether it's the ambulance or the fire department, the police department, is not 100% accurate on what's going on the scene. The fire department gets called, then they find out that there's a vehicle and somebody's hanging off the vehicle, whatever the case may be. They're on scene, and then there's a delay because now the RCMP got to be contacted, and the RCMP calls it search and rescue. So in the fire chief's view, and I tend to agree with him, the response time, the response delays sometimes because of the way the system works, increases the importance of this watercraft. But we can have this discussion.
I think it should. I agree.
Search and rescue.
I think it's okay to have a discussion, but I think, my opinion is that we should get it because, search and rescue is good. We know that they're there, but are they always going to be there? In the town of Stephenville, firefighting, we're always going to be here. And for that amount of money, I don't think we're going to break the bank to get this very needed equipment. Not only that, what about if you get a call tomorrow that one of your grandchildren or is in trouble and they need this equipment? And maybe the search and rescue could be called out on another call. There's all kinds of scenarios out there, but I would be in favor of buying the equipment.
I'm certainly not opposed to it. What I would like is information and a little
Yes.
bit statistical research, so that I feel like I'm making an informed decision, right? Because we can carry that logic of we should have it in case to a lot of other pieces of equipment. So if we're making a decision based on that, we're going to have a lot of other expenditures to come. I'd just like to hear a little bit more about why we're purchasing that.
The why, the how, and the training that goes with it and so on. And no pun intended, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
So,
Just already here.
unless we have somebody that's willing to put a motion on the table and a seconder and a vote, I'm sensing around the table that we would defer it to get more data and information, because there is equipment at ground search and rescue. It may not be the same apparatus, but let's get some more intel before we make an decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'll turn it over to anybody else waiting on finance. I'll turn it over to our Chair of Planning and Traffic, Councilor Laura Elward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hello, everybody. Laura, Brian. The Planning and Traffic Committee met on March 25th, 2024, and the following items were recommended for council approval. Number 1, Dakota Drive, Stephenville Diamond International Airport, be it resolved to approve a permit cut across Dakota Drive to run conduit for airport lighting. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Elward, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? Carried.
Number 2, 1 Waits Lane, Colebrook, Candace Campbell Daycare. Be it resolved to approve a permit to provide an occupancy permit for an in-home daycare, lower level at home, 1,200 square feet. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Elward, seconder.
Seconded.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine?
Just as a point for, I guess, everybody listening, even though it's approved here, an awful lot of goes to service and all for inspections regarding daycare centers
Yeah,
or restaurants or anything else. There's another follow-up along with it
yes,
before it's approved.
that's right.
One more thing,
Okay.
so on that, and over the course, we've had people renewing their permits, so the permits, even though once this gets approved, and then Service NL and others approve it, we issue a 1-year permit, but it's not like they got to reapply. They just get the permit issued every year, which goes with their provincial Service NL license and that. So they still have to renew a permit request every year, but there's no approval process. It's just
Is
a
there an extra fee every
permit issue,
It's just one time.
just one time.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Number 347 Oregon Drive, Indian Head Solutions Limited, be it resolved to approve request for an occupancy permit for commercial office space for leasing. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Elward, seconder.
Second,
Second, Councilor O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contramine? Carried.
Number 4, 128 Carolina Avenue, Indian Head Solutions Limited. Be it resolved to approve request for occupancy permit for commercial office space for leasing. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Elward, seconder.
Seconded.
Second, Councilor Maurice Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine?
Oh, I got to ask a question. When we're giving him an occupancy permit to do commercial office space, is it also looked at? Does someone actually go up physically and look at, or does they fall underneath Newfoundland?
I do believe the planning and development component is now looking at policies and procedures that, as we go forward, we were pretty thin on staff before, but I think the plan is to have inspections done to ensure if somebody says they're building a 10 by 10, it's not 20 by 20,
Yeah.
more or less, right?
Okay, that's good. I think that's important. And
Yeah.
I think even my past life on council, sometimes we miss that.
Yeah.
You know, make sure someone actually goes and that it is physically there.
And the big thing with that in the past, unless you have the human capital to follow up, and it can't be done.
That's right.
You don't have the time to do it. So anyways, that's in the works, Councilor Myra Wade.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilor Mike, carry.
Number 5, Brooks Street, be it resolved to approve a request for a permit to build a garage. No, this request was initially denied, but upon closer investigation and in compliance with past practices, the permit does meet regularity requirements and is therefore recommended for approval with conditions under the municipal regulations to be satisfied by the applicant. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Lord, seconder. Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilor Mine? Carried.
Number 6, 133 Carolina Avenue, Indian Head Solutions Limited. Be it resolved to approve a request for a permit to occupy the property located at 133 Carolina Avenue as a multi-user flexible workspace. be it resolved to approve a request for a permit to occupy the adjacent property located at 133 Caroline Avenue for the purpose of operating a restaurant. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laurie Orr, seconder.
Second,
Second, Councilor O'Brien.
Question, what's the multi-user flexible workspace? Can someone define that for me?
It's rented workspaces with provision of administrative services by the provider of the space.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? Carried.
Number 7, 6870 Main Street. Be it resolved to approve a request for a permit to occupy located at 6870 for Kean College. Permit to occupy.
6870 for being college.
I so move.
So the name-
that's
Name
name
change.
change on Main Street,
Yeah,
from Western College to Keegan.
so should the permit to change name?
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay, moved by Councilor Laurie Orr, seconder.
Second,
Second, Councilor O'Brien, all in favor? Contramine? Carried.
Number 8, 107 Main Street, Arlams. Be it resolved to approve a request to erect a sign on Carolina Avenue in conjunction with the typical marketing of similar businesses. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laurie Orr, seconder. Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, all in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? Carried.
Number 9, Minnesota Drive Bridge Replacement. It's a long one. Be it resolved to complete the required municipal infrastructure application for federal provincial support for a bridge replacement on Minnesota Drive with a roundabout and to provide a minute of council in support of the application process for a federal provincial municipal contribution agreement, which the town will provide its share through the municipal borrowing process. Be it resolved to proceed with a municipal funding request approval to borrow through a motion of council for $443,859, which is 20% of the local cost of the estimated $1,658,940 to install a roundabout. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laurie Orr, seconder. Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow.
That was a
Aye.
mouthful.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, maybe,
Where's this?
maybe the CEO could maybe talk a little bit of that.
Yeah.
For somebody listening, it doesn't sound quite as smooth as it really is.
Not only them,
Yeah, okay.
almost all do.
No, okay, yes.
So, if I might,
ahead, yeah.
the Minnesota Drive Bridge replacement was contemplated. There was some pricing done and estimating done on it. And in some of the investigation, it came to a conclusion that the bridge could not be refurbished, that it would have to be fully replaced, which would have been significantly more than the concept of a roundabout. There was a decision made by prior council, I guess, to choose what was referred to as option C. There were 3 options, and this was the preliminary costing of that option. This fell by the wayside prior to my arrival here, and so we picked it up, and the people from the provincial government advised that they would move forward with this if we were intent on still proceeding. I think the mayor wrote a letter to the department and saying, can we please continue with this process? Because we didn't act in time for what was going on with this file. We then started working on it just this week and trying to tidy it up and get the application submitted. There's a multi-government funding agreement which would potentially pay for some of it, but the federal government plans to collapse the program. And if we get our application in now, we have a chance to avail of the program. If we don't, we of course will get nothing. But so what they've suggested is that they wanted us to complete the application. So we've sent the preliminary documents into them. And what they need now is permission, or an approval that council has approved its participation in the building of a roundabout to replace the Minnesota Drive Bridge. We were told that a replacement bridge would be significantly more. You probably over double what we were considering for the cost. So what this would do is it's within the $443,000 because that amount, excuse me, is the additional that it would cost versus what we were originally anticipating putting into bridge refurbishment. So what we have to do is to secure and say, we're fully responsible for the 443, but we'll still apply for the total of 1.6. Right?
Great explanation.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of clarity too. Coming out of COVID, two things, there was about three things that challenged MCW projects and they got delayed. This was supposed to be done a year or two ago. Georgia Drive was supposed to be done 2 years ago. And what happened was even the engineering of MCW was challenged with staffing because it's got to go through MCW's engineering department and work with our local engineering department. But this was the least cost option. Initially, we thought we could just take the top side off and we even looked at a timber frame top side. But the embutments, when they did further assessment, engineering assessment, the embutments that holds up the bridge, plus the sub-base structures, the cement was deteriorated so much that full reconstruction, as our CAO mentioned, it would have cost significant money. One thing I'd like to note in it, and I was driving by it today because I think I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce when we planted some trees along Warm Brook. But I think that when we go to tender, we got to be cognizant that the trees that have been planted, they may have to be removed and relocated to a green belt in town. So,
Yeah, and for the public's interest, it is the overhead bridge that we're talking about, the overpass.
yeah,
We had hoped to save because it was the first overpass. in
yes.
land.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
The other challenge with it too was just maintaining it the way it is, which it couldn't be maintained. It has time expired, is that it's very narrow. So if you get a couple of RVs trying to cross that bridge at the same time, they were kind of designed back in the 40s and 50s for the Willys Jeeps that were pretty narrow. But so this is a good project. It's a least cost option. And on that note, if there's no other comment.
Yeah, I'm glad it's happening. It's something that I want to review when I was on council years ago.
That's why you.
So that's why I'm back here for this, and that's when now I can retire.
yeah, you've done it.
We talked about the roundabout because it would eliminate all these lights, right? So we felt that the traffic would be directed more so onto the main pathway. And we thought it would be a great idea.
I certainly like the idea of the roundabout. It's something that I promoted when I was sitting in the mayor's chair and last that discussion 4, if not 5 times with council that we should have had a roundabout down where the lights went in by A&W and that.
Yes.
That would have been the perfect place, I think, for a roundabout. But I lost that discussion many times, 4 or 5 times at least when I was sitting in the mayor's seat. So I'm glad to see this.
Yeah, well,
Going towards the roundabout.
it took a while for us to get it to this stage, but thanks to the great work of our staff and our CAO and deputy CAO and team, we got it, and municipal affairs is working with us on it. So let's hope everything comes into place and Mr. CAO and the tenders go out. And it's a significant piece of construction.
The time sensitivity on this one, as soon as this meeting is over, they want a copy of our minute.
Yeah.
So that we will transmit it to them right away. So. Council.
Okay, sounds good.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Contraminds carried.
Number 10, adoption of the Town of Stephenville Municipal Growth Plan. Be it resolved to adopt the Town of Stephenville Municipal Growth Plan as presented by Uplands Consulting Services. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Laura Elwood, seconder.
Seconded.
Second, Councilor Maurice Sign. Question?
I second it because I think when it came to last time, I wanted to see the plan and we're going to discuss it again. Like all plans, they're subject to change. But I like where it goes is phased, okay? And as it goes through one phase, if it needs to change, then it can. So what we're doing is we're adopting the plan, we're approving it, and we all know that as time goes by, we may have to adopt it and change it. But like this, but
Okay,
All plans get tweaked as you move along.
that's right.
The challenge with some plans though in the past, and we've seen it, many organizations, to get work done, get plans and it sits on a shelf and nothing happens. That's not gonna happen here. Okay, all in favor? Carry.
Number 11, discussion around consulting services for the development plan and the municipal plan. Be it resolved to approve the issuance of an RFP for an update to the town of Stephenville's development regulations and land use zoning maps and municipal plan and future land use zoning maps, which is required every 10 years. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Edwards, seconder, second Councilor Myra White. Question?
Just quick, where it says it's required, you're step by provincial government.
Yeah, it's a requirement that all municipalities, they have to update their municipal plans. We have hit that time bar to get it completed. And it's interesting when we had a report from Uplands, obviously overviewed our municipal plan. And what they identified was that we had a little too many restrictions in it and it curbed development. And that was cited in the presentation. So we'll, that'll be a full public discourse from there'll be public meetings to look at the plan to see where we're going. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 12, I think last one, approval of the storm drainage for transition house, be it resolved to have the town of Stephenville complete the tender process for the storm drainage for the transition house. This item is on urgent matter. It's an urgent matter as the project is stalled until the piece of work is completed. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Edwards, seconder. Second Councilor Myra White. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry. Okay.
So that's all for planning, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so we have no bylaws and regulations. That's on the docket for today. Any unfinished business, because we've got a couple of new business items that we have to speak on.
Yeah, it's, this is unfinished business. At our last special meeting, I mentioned the paper I received in my mailbox called Newfoundland Warrior, and there was some negative comments made. But interesting enough, when I went home that evening and looked at the paper, there was a full half-page article in there regarding the Bay St. George Sick Children Foundation. But since then, I spoke to our manager and to our communications person, Mara Lee, to contact the paper to see what their circulation was in this area and how we could work them to get more local content into it. So you mean that the circulation is all over town. I believe Stephenville and Stephenville Crossing.
They don't get it in Kippens, I heard,
Okay.
or St. George's don't get it.
No, but Steve, but we were discussing Stephenville issues and getting more local content into it. So I mean, that's something that Marilyn Lee's taken on to work with the newspaper. I mean, I rather try to build a relationship so that we can get more content into the paper. So I mean, that's one thing that came out of the last meeting.
If I can make a comment, last night at our meeting, there was a whole number of really great things about the town of Stephenville, about the, especially about recreation and what's been done for that to make it accessible. We talked about the Guardian Angels, what they're doing. And on the way in, being Thursday, I thought about Community Cafe.
Yeah,
So every Thursday, just go and it's wonderful news. So these are the type of things I think
Yeah.
that people would like to
Yeah.
see, the good things that are happening.
Yeah.
There's lots.
yeah, because it should be sent out
Yeah.
to the paper.
And most of it is done by volunteers, which is.
It is,
so gratifying, right?
Well, that means all done by volunteers. That's what you mean. I'm sure Marilyn Lee will, with her experience in the industry and that, and I would think that the Saltwater Warriors and who's the publishers of the Newfoundland Warrior, I think I'm saying that correctly. Yeah. So we'll be receptive to getting more information if we feed it to them.
Yeah, well, it just heightens our ability to communicate with our residents. And with communications, management in place, it's critical. So,
Yeah,
good point.
talking about the paper, it was interesting that the paper came, I got mine on Monday for some reason. That the front page was a full item on a man that grew up in Stephenville, but lived in Grand Falls, you know, after he got married and moved away. Lived in Grand Falls, Stanley Coffin, and he was really involved with the cataracts, and he was a dedicated volunteer. There's a
Yeah.
big write-up on him in that particular moment, and I said to myself, well, you know, that's a good thing for people to read, even though he was born and raised here, but his home central, and his wife, she passed away early in their marriage, and and she was from Stephenville, and they had 2 children. She was a hairdresser here. Edna Benoit was her name. So you know, that was someone from Central, I guess, contacted the paper to get it put in, and sometimes I guess people fail to do that. You know, I did contact them a few times to get some Guardian Angel pins presentations, and at first I didn't get any answers back, but in the end we did, when we did get a few put in the paper. So you know, it's too bad that they can't get it to everybody, but it's okay. I guess they're looking at their,
It's widely circulated in town.
yeah.
Even in the area 13, they got a special lobster that they put it in so that residents
Yeah.
pick it up when they pick up their mail. But in addition, out of our last meeting, there was reference made to a 14-page document that was put in by some of the town employees. It was kind of led people to believe that it was the opinion of one individual regarding the events and within the town. I'd like to point out that, I mean, the 14-page document is certainly not frivolous, and it's although it was said there was no heading on the document.
I guess on a point of order, Councilor Ryan, I don't think it's permitted to talk about HR issues and employees at a public meeting of council. On point of order.
I'm just referring to the 14-page document. There's not a frivolous document.
That's an internal.
And okay, well, I'll answer a question that was asked at the last meeting. Was the document prepared on town time or their own time? It was prepared on their own time.
And did you find out that information from the CAO, or did you go directly to?
I asked one of the authors of the document.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, when you get an email from anybody, you usually see on top who it's from and the date and all that. But this was done on 8.5 by 11 plain paper. And that was it. 14 pages. But
Okay, so I
you know,
think what we should
it
do.
was a union
Yeah,
thing, right?
Yeah, so as a point of order, I
Yeah.
think this should not be discussed here. That's internal.
Yeah.
That's for CAOs to brief, and deputy CAOs to brief council. So let's leave it at that, and
I've said what I wanted to say on the document anyway, that, I mean, the authors are there, it's a 14-page document and it's not frivolous. So. And
so let's move on.
I guess we'll be back to the table
I
again.
guess, yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but anyway.
So anyways, I just want to discuss, we have an MOU that a recommendation for council to sign. Obviously, the College of North Atlantic plays a very critical role in the town of Stephenville. It is the largest college system in Atlantic Canada. We are headquarters here. Sometimes we'll challenge with how many headquarter positions are in Stephenville. That'll be that for another day. But our economic development office has done a tremendous amount of work, and our management team working with CNA on some of our goals and objectives. It is a fairly lengthy MOU. I won't read it in entirety because this will be a public document for the public, but I just want to go over a couple of things on it before we would ask a mover and a seconder for the signing. So basically, it is between the College of North Atlantic and the town of Stephenville. Areas of mutual cooperation, as we well know, they have research and development, they have full engineering departments and so forth. So some of the areas of mutual interest would be the development and delivery of unique education, training, and work experiences. Obviously, I'm very proud of the college that they stepped up so fast, so quickly to get the wind technician program here for World Energy. That happened very fast, and I worked in the College of North Atlantic, because sometimes things don't really work that fast, Susan. So I have to compliment them. Exploration of opportunities and potential direct and indirect economic value for CNA students, alumni, and the town of Stephenville. Exploration, development, and implementation of applied research and innovation projects, very important. Remember, we should be first to market with hydrogen in Stephenville, Newfoundland, Canada. Very important. Exploration and development of incremental initiatives for newcomers, immigrants, refugees, and international students. Canada, top 41 million people. We have Ukrainian visitors in our town, visitors from India, Iran, the Philippines. We are truly an inclusive community. Collaboration on jointly developed equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives. Very, very important. And the design of entrepreneurship supports. Development of accessibility, lifelong learning initiatives. So we do have acknowledgement of cooperation, independent sort of activities, exchange of information, employees and volunteers associated with projects. And there is also obviously a legal disclaimer. This went through the legal team of the College of North Atlantic and was vetted through our team. There is always with these MOUs, there's an exit, and either party may withdraw from the MOU at any time upon presentation of 90 days prior written notice. Standard MOU protocol policy. So this is long-standing in the town of Stephenville, College of North Atlantic. I would ask council to move or.
Well, I just want to, and at the risk of sounding bitter, which is not what I want to sound like, but just by way of explanation, this is really just formalizing or taking another step in formalizing what has been happening since the college began and what should be happening in any community where a college is. It's part of their mandate and it's part of their commitment and it's part of what adult education is. I say that because there is a part of me that is a little bit bitter, let's say that. And I'm like you, address at every opportunity the misperception that we're headquartered in Stephenville. The only headquartering in Stephenville, I think, is the name on the building, says headquarters. And the support staff are headquartered there, but certainly have not almost since day one, when it was said by government that the headquarters would be in Stephenville, have senior management people resided in Stephenville. It's always been a sore spot with me and continues to be. So I will bring it up. And but in terms of the MOU, I think this is a really positive way of highlighting the commitments, to one another that have always existed and to continue to move forward with that. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and just on this, like the MOU with our economic development officer on everything from daycare demands, affordable housing, so many elements that we're working on. So I would ask a member of council that they move that this MOU be signed.
I assume there's a lot of work, it looks like there's a lot of work put into it by the town and members of the college. But, and I got no problem, but the problem is I never received it until 6:39 last night. It don't give you a lot of time to read and digest this stuff. I'm not a lawyer and everything else going through this sort of stuff. But what I can tell, it's a good document, but in the future, it's nice to have a bit more notice when you're dealing with this sort of stuff.
I share your concern as well. We only received the 6:30 last night, but again, the situation within town hall at the present time with our experienced staff being off and our new staff being on, I don't want our manager to get used to us cutting them some slack for our assistant manager, but you mean, I'm sure the timing will improve moving forward.
And I can respond to that, and my apologies as well for having things so late to you. But we have been discussing that, we recognize that, and we are gonna work, we are in the process of working to develop policies around having the information to you in a timely manner and putting deadlines in place, and so this process will certainly improve moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, since I suffer from insomnia, I read it okay, last night. And it's a typical MOU. It's a lot of understanding that they will try to help each other. And the one thing that I missed about the college when it initially started was all of the extension courses that were being run in the town. People could take arts and crafts, they could do woodworking, they could do mechanics. And I would like for, even though it's not mentioned in here, maybe for something like that to come back again.
They moved away from
Yes.
community part and
Yeah.
moved into a business model and
Yes.
that kind of
Yeah, I that's the one thing that I would like to see.
cost recovery. Sit outside of anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
To do the courses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I read through it and it's, and like all MOUs, as I said, it's a lot of nice words. And as an MOU will only work if both parties continually meet and set a priority or an objective for that month, that term, or something that's on the horizon that they need to do. That's
That's a really good
Yep.
point. And, you know, having that human capital, having a manager in economic development allows this to happen and further the initiatives that may come out of a good MOU. So on that note, can I, question?
I'm just curious why we're just having an MOU now. Is there something changed between it being a headquarters and the Bay St. George campus, or
No,
it's there?
It's just-
Thing
No, it's just we
that
never.
prompted.
we've never had anybody working towards getting it done, I guess, in the past. So it's just a new initiative to, they have a lot of resources, and if we can tap into their resources to benefit the citizens of the community, that'll benefit us, you know?
Candace knows it better, but there's some resources that we may be able to tap immediately, which will help with a lot of our activities. On the GIS and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yes, there's a couple of different departments that offer funding opportunities for us to take advantage of. And a couple of those being, we could avail of a student or a part-time employee for a length of time that could help us fulfill some of the projects that we're looking at developing. So there's lots of, we've been doing having a collaborative working relationship with the college for a number of years, but this just enhances that and it kind of highlights that and puts it out there, and it's a good news story and, you know, our continued partnership on many levels.
That's like the student work term.
Yes,
Coming
absolutely.
up for town. We've done that.
That's right.
We've done that quite often in the past.
Okay, so can we get a mover?
Move.
Moved by Councillor Dan Roberts, seconder.
Second.
Councillor Maurice Hines, all in favor.
aye.
Councillor Ryan, motion carried. Sorry, not motion carried.
Loud summation, motion anymore.
So I'm gonna go ahead and sign this, Mr. Ramsey now, I presume, for my signature, and then it's the signature of the college. So,
We'll get you to sign that minute afterwards too.
yes. Okay. So we did, one other item on a new business, we did receive a letter from the CEO of Ben's Pharmacy reference our water rates. And we did a little bit of research. Our water rates residential are a little bit lower than most similar communities in the province. We do flat fees on our commercial rates. Other municipalities will do a flat fee plus a mill. So everybody does it a little bit differently, but he did have some questions about the validity of additional washrooms in commercial properties. So one time, Susan, you might be able to help me out on this one. One time, every place had to have a male and female washroom. Now, the washrooms are unisex, if that's the proper word that I'm using. So a lot of sometimes there was over infrastructure because it was the demands of yesteryear, but now it's evolving. So it is a document that I think we have to have some discussion on with our tax department, because when we do the budget for the year and we have our tax rates advertised, that's for this fiscal year. For us to change that or modify it, it would be a motion of council, but we would have to have the research done with the tax department and the management team to come back to finance to determine. So it is a very good letter from Mr. Walsh. So I would recommend that we have that tabled at our next finance meeting.
Yep, we did have some discussion on it initially on the
Yes.
finance committee, when the request came the first time. And my understanding too was that the tax collector was going to speak to Mr. Walsh and give him a couple of ideas on ways that that could be reduced, because I think he was being, I think it was, he was being considered a building with 3 washrooms or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
And his contention was, one of them wasn't even in use. So there were some suggestions that could, so hopefully, the tax collector did get back to him. I have no reason to think he wouldn't. And, so that will hopefully, help him through at this point while we look at it now too.
So it's worthy of approval internally by staff and to come to council for any further consideration. Now, the last one here is the MAA board update. Do you have anything on that?
There is a document.
Just,
The re attachment to the email we
Yeah.
get.
basically, yeah, letting us know.
Well, there's an update.
Basically, nothing.
It's like their little newsletter, right?
Well, we can actually maybe just to give us just a full notes, I guess, of the update from MAA.
Nothing very exciting, which is that they got some, they got their board in place for next time. They weren't announcing that there was a big drop in the assessments or anything exciting like that.
No, I wouldn't say.
We can also have published the document to our website for everybody to
Okay. Yeah.
look at and review.
Good.
Okay.
List the board of directors. New board.
Yeah. Okay, so any other business before? Anybody? Mayor Stephenville.
Again, I know that staff are new and everybody's filled in for in the missing links and so on, but I just want to point out that 6 or 7 years ago, I guess, I made a request/motion in the interest of becoming more environmentally cognizant as a town, that we look at using a different format, electronic format. And we were all provided laptops at the time, and the intent was that we would become familiar with the laptops so that all the stuff got put to our laptops, published to folders, and we could use that to cut down on the amount of paper, which would be one small way in which we could be more environmentally conscious. I'm noticing, and you'll notice that I'm at a point where I don't even bring my laptop anymore because nobody was doing it. And all of a sudden, we're still asking for paper copies of everything. And with new staff, we're getting a lot of copies. And I just want to request that we go back to policy on that and revisit that, because I think there are ways in which we could lead by example. We talk about being a green community, and we need to lead by example. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, and we all have our laptops at home, and we're always, in order to read a file prior to a meeting, we gotta have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it may be that down the line, in a budget item, and maybe that'll be 2025, I don't know, but I think every counselor and staff that we need
Tablets.
tablets that are permanently set up here on the table so that we don't have to filter through our paper.
When we reconfigure the table so that those of us on this end of the triangle can see.
I'm thinking, it's too bad we couldn't just take that table and flip it around.
Yep.
I wonder, can we do that? Should be able to.
Well, we asked about it before and it was labor intensive, but I don't think it would be that labor
The
intensive.
screen would have to be moved too then.
No, what are you gonna
Well,
do?
no,
no,
even if
because
it's flipped around, I could be on that end because, and unfortunate for our management, but as the chair, I don't like to have my back to our guests in the lobby. I
Yeah.
like to always be down here because people online, they're gonna see me from the voice activated
Yeah.
technology.
Or if you flip the table around,
But it is hard for me to see counselors sometimes when I'm chairing the meeting.
If
That's
he's-
up front, eh?
problem is the narrow end can see up to the wide end, but the wide end, like you're probably, I don't know if you're finding it, but I'm like this
Yes.
many times trying to get what the mayor is saying.
It's not enough.
Because when either everybody tips back, and then what happens is if you're doing if you have a group in or something, you got a presentation up there. Soon as one person's in, one person gotta move way out, whereas if we. I don't know if there's a different configuration, but it's
We'll look at it.
been a difficulty for me since the beginning until the mayor moved up there, then it was okay. But of course, now since COVID, we're getting people back into the gallery.
it might help to lift the screen up too.
Yeah,
Yes, true.
absolutely.
Yeah, so for the 60 attendants that have joined us, thank you for joining our CAO.
One more item, we just had a late item.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
We just had a late item come in that it's just a note that Ireland's the fundraiser that they requested permit for.
Okay.
It's for search and rescue, and it's on the 8th of April from 4 to 6 during the eclipse. So it's an eclipse fundraiser. And search and rescue have suggested that during that period, it might be better to close the road down. Now, I don't know how that would be received by other people in the business community along there. But again, that's the request so that people would have a good view and more room. It may depend on the weather. Yeah, I think they're gonna go ahead with their fundraiser
And I
regardless.
think it's just a small road, Bolton, I believe, in between Harteries and Arlen's, not Main Street.
Churchill's.
Yeah.
Churchill Street.
Sorry. So, if anybody can control traffic, it's Ground Search and Rescue who is the fundraiser for. So I think I really got no problem with it.
I think it's that I bumped into Tracy last week and she was a late item and that's the street. She couldn't remember what the name of the street was. It's Churchill Street.
Churchill, yeah.
So that's
There's no objection. We'll confirm to search and rescue that they
And
could.
one of the protocols I think there is we always inform the RCMP anytime a street is being closed. I think that's one of the protocols.
Yeah, they still got access
Yeah.
from two different.
Yeah,
And you can go in behind there.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So anything else?
So, I know this is a contentious topic and issue on times, but back to the airport, I mean, the MOU on fire services. We make note of that.
Well, I can say that we just kind of reached a good understanding with both parties now. Both are agreeing to the terms of the draft that we have. However, the airport manager is away on holidays now until the 8th of April. So we won't be able to make any final decisions on that. But the next time we have a planning meeting, the draft will come here to council for your review and consideration.
Come to planning or come to finance. It's
Well,
financial
I
issue.
guess it could come to both committees,
Yeah.
but
It should-
it is relevant to
It
both.
should be both committees.
Yeah, it's relevant to both.
Yeah, or even on something that magnitude would warrant the
Council consider.
council as a whole meeting.
Mhm.
Right, I mean, it's, I mean, we're 7 months into it now, I mean, with each passing day, I mean, the airport saves money, which I mean, is great for them, but I mean, I think we need to get it done, because I mean, 7 months in, they saved a whole lot of money on HR resources, because we as the town are providing services and don't have an agreement in place. The other thing about the airport and when it comes to firefighting, it was said that at one of our previous meetings, if there wasn't fire protection provided to the airport, the air ambulance wouldn't be able to come in. That's incorrect. Under Transport Canada's regulations, an airport doesn't require fire protection services unless they get 160,000 passengers or more a year. So I just want to clarify that. But for the big question, when the announcement was made in 2021, there was a $10 million price tag on the airport. Somewhere along, somewhere along.
It wasn't a $10 million price tag. The price tag for sale of the airport, just for clarity, was between the airport corporation and the diamond group, had nothing to do with us. The only thing that we signed as a motion of council is an MOU that over a timeline, that $10 million would be spent towards crash fire rescue and fire protection in the town of Stephenville at the airport. Just an MOU, non-binding, went to our legal counsel, done on a motion of council.
When the announcement was made, there was a $10 million announcement that the town was getting $10 million over $10 million for fire hall, which I didn't understand at the time, because I mean, if I buy your house, I don't get to tell you what to spend your money on. So I mean, it's but I mean, somewhere along the line, the $10 million fell off the table. So where did it fall off?
And I'm sure that our CAO can furnish you with the MOU that we signed.
Right.
So you could have the details on it.
I mean, it's well, I mean, I asked for a copy of the agreement at one of our previous meetings, and I was told the town didn't have it. Because I questioned how the town voted in favor of selling the airport. I don't see the agreement.
That's a different agreement.
We didn't vote to sell the airport. We didn't vote to sell.
We didn't vote to sell the airport.
The board did that.
No, you voted to support the sale of the airport.
Yes.
I mean, well, what backup documents did you have to know what you were supporting?
But backup documents,
Yeah.
well, we knew that we had an airport run by a community group that was bankrupt, in bankruptcy protection for 17 years. Creditors weren't paid. And we were on the hook as taxpayers about $500,000 a year to keep the airport, to keep the lights on. So the decision of council is a decision of council. And I will clearly say too, for the councilors at the table, we all know it, and you'll get your municipal training. You can't speak against decisions of council. Even if you vote against it at this table and it gets carried, you can't speak against decisions of council. We're not permitted.
I'm certainly looking forward to this training come Tuesday.
Good, yeah. Okay, on that note, I'd ask somebody to adjourn the meeting.
No.
Oh, we got some more.
Oh, you got some-
Notice the motion. I got some motions here that I'm putting forward at the next council meeting. I don't know if you want me to read them now. I want to make the motions now out of respect for council. You need some
No,
time.
that would, if you got anything for council meeting, that would go to administration. And go either be a planning or finance item.
You can distribute them around the table. That's three motions that I will be making at the next public meeting. And there quite possibly be a couple more to go along with it.
There's a procedure on that. This is not the time. This is not the appropriation for this. This will be something that you got 2 weeks to get done. for our next public meeting.
That's why notice of motion is on the agenda. So a member of council can give notice that they're going to bring motion forward, and that's what I'm doing. So, you know,
That's usually done electronically through the CAO and clerk. That's the procedure. So we wouldn't get into that now.
I'm looking forward to the training.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
Councilor Miller.
yeah, all I want to say is that for the next planning meeting, Deputy CAO, if you could have a copy of the dog animal regulations sent to the councilors, because we do have a problem with dangerous dogs in this town. And we got to do, we got to look at our regulation. I know that one of the rules is if you have a dog that's after attacking people when they're walking with their dogs, that the owner is not allowed to let that dog run wild, or even if she's or he is walking with the dog should be on a leash. And it's been noted with the person that was attacked a couple of years ago, the little dog that she had in her arms could have been killed. And that dog was off the leash, away from his property on a different street altogether. So we have to figure out, and it was investigated and it's still not really solved, the problem. And the thing about it is that if you have a dangerous animal and he's after biting somebody, that animal should not go back to the owner. You know, there's rules and regulations out there, not only town ones, but other ones as well. So anyway, I know that the municipal officer deals with it a lot, but I just want councillors to go over the rules and regulations, and we'll have discussion at our planning meeting maybe. Next
And
week.
this is a discussion that we have had as well, and I think it's important to point out that saying there is a problem with mean dogs or whatever you just said in this town, I think I've got to disagree with you there. There was an issue with a particular dog in a particular neighborhood, and I think that issue speaks more to the owner than anything else. And I don't think any policy that we put forward or not is going to change the fact that somebody is not complying with rules and regulations, right? So there's lots of dogs in this town who I know of a number of owners whose dogs have accidentally gotten loose and you know, possibly attacked another dog, and they have met with RCMP and been assessed, and they have to wear a muzzle on the dog. So I think those things are being dealt with on a lot of levels, but you're talking about a particular incident where the owner is not necessarily compliant, and
Yeah.
I think that needs.
Yes, but there wasn't only one, Susan,
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor, there was another one too, this different person altogether. And, you
Yeah,
know,
but there's also provincial regulations regarding this, so
Yeah.
I think we need to look to see how the town's regulations.
Yeah.
match with
And we
the
looked
provincial
it out.
regulations.
We have a presentation from the RCMP.
And we amended policy on
Yeah.
it, right?
So you mean,
But it's nice to follow up and get
Yeah.
a fresh.
we need to look at it again.
I mean, a big part of it is enforcement too. You
Oh,
mean, when
yes.
it comes to animal control, that type of thing. And regardless if the dog is mean or not mean, if a people has a fear of dogs, they have a fear of dogs. You mean, you can have the kindest, most gentle dog on the face of the earth, but you're walking down the street and it's not tethered, and a person that actually has an actual outright fear of dogs, it's not comfortable for them. But to end on a positive note, myself and Councillor Susan, Councillor Myra, and Councillor Maurice attended the Stephenville Public Forum last night on accessibility. It was held at Legion. There was close to 40 people there in order, and they were in the room with us today. I mean, there was a lot of interesting stuff brought forward. Some of it is pretty simple stuff that I think we get done in a short period of time. Some of the other stuff that came up, because I mean, it's accessibility and inclusion, not just accessibility. It can get done in a short period of time, and some other things that were brought up will take longer to do, and certainly a financial resource to make it happen. So I'm certainly looking forward to the Accessibility and Inclusion Committee bringing stuff forward to the public table, and certainly like, and I should say too that we're the manager and assistant manager, say manager, anyway. It's, you know who we are. We're also there last night, as well as Marissa and Mara Lee was there. Did I leave anybody? That's the worst part when you start naming people. You might leave somebody out. Did I leave anybody out, Susan?
No, I think that's.
Okay.
If
So-
you did, we'll tell you.
So you.
Well, in other words, we were well represented, so.
Well, the gentleman that facilitated last night, when he asked the members of council to stand up and introduce themselves, which we did, he sat down and he said he was impressed because of all of the public forums that he's held around town, that the most he's ever had turn up from any council was one.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, on that note, motion to adjourn.
Move.
Moved by Councilor Van second Councilor Maurice Hines, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. I need the whole council for a quick little issue.